This is Hard Parking, proudly sponsored by Right Honda and Right Toyota out of Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm your host, Jhae Pfenning, recording from my home studio in Gilbert, Arizona. Coming up this week is Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving. I'm going to tell you that now because I never release episodes. It's been a while since I've released an episode on Thanksgiving Day or the day after. People don't listen, honestly. And I'd rather not release an episode than to look at the stats and be like, ugh, no one's listening. So happy Turkey Day if you celebrate that. We do around here. I usually smoke a turkey. I will probably release some sort of an episode, but just for my Patreons. Don't worry, you're not missing anything. Coming up on today's show, it is Jhae Day, just like the title suggests. And what does that mean? Good friend of mine, Jhae Mullins, finally in studio. And we talk about some outstanding things. Now, the goal for Jhae is for him to be a repeat studio guest. He lives a few miles away. We've been talking about doing this for a while. And I know I get tired of, and I know that my voice at times makes people fall asleep. And he's a lot more into cars in general than I am. But we talk about his NSX and we talk about his time in the military. He served 21 years. And man, I pre-listened to this thing. It's great. So you guys aren't going to want to miss that. And if we do it right, every time he comes in studio, then we're going to get a story from one of his deployments. And then we talk about the Cybertruck. What are his thoughts on the Cybertruck? I'll probably never have a Cybertruck. I have no interest in the Cybertruck. I don't have anything against the Cybertruck, but I like hearing people's opinions on that vehicle. A little bit of car news, a little bit of robot news, all that and more after this word from 4Wheel Online. For over a decade, 4Wheel Online has been bringing the best truck accessories and truck parts to enhance the appearance and performance of all trucks and SUVs. They are dedicated to providing an extensive range of upgrades that will match any maker model on the road. The truck products cover everything to give your truck a custom look and added functionality. Need a wheel and tire package? Head over and use the configuration tool. They carry all the major brands of wheels and tires, so go get outfitted today. Visit them online at 4Wheel Online. So if you guys saw Jaguars in the news, they brought out this commercial. I recently watched the commercial. It's really colorful, really artsy. It kind of, I think, pushes the envelope on the imagination. And without playing my card too much now, because I did talk to Jhae about that commercial, I will say this. I think that sometimes we care a little bit too much about things that don't really matter to us. So like when Bud Light comes out and they want to stand behind LGBTQ+, they're making a statement and people don't like that. I'd rather these big corporations stay out of those things, but if a corporation wants to show their support by releasing a special can to a transgender person, it's not going to make me not buy the beer. Either I'm going to buy the beer or I'm not. There's almost anything that I consume, whether I eat it or drink it, there's almost nothing those companies can do that would make me stop buying the product unless it was heinous. So, for example, let's say the Bud Light was secretly using their money to launder and fund child trafficking rings or something. Then it actually means something. It means, hell yeah, I'm going to boycott the brand because I'm not about that. But when it comes to social things, I don't care that much. I think that sometimes, and I want to blame the woke culture, I think sometimes we care more than we really actually care, because I can't remember the last time I went out and bought a 12-pack of Bud Light. And if I did, it was to take it to somebody else's party because I know they like Bud Light. And so that wouldn't change. I wouldn't stand there and say, and I know this is so like 3 years ago, right? But I wouldn't stand there and say, oh man, F that. I'm no longer going to spend my money on Bud Light. I'm going to buy this other beer. Oh, which by the way, if you look at the list of beers that are under the same umbrella, you probably bought another beer that's by Anheuser-Busch or whoever owns or owned Bud Light. And so I think about that with this Jaguar commercial. I don't really care that much that they rebranded. They have a new logo. A lot of car people are up in arms about it because it doesn't have the Jaguar animal and they changed the font. I think the font is fine. I don't care that much. I have no plans of buying a Jaguar, and there's a few Jaguars out there I think look great, but I don't pay attention to what the emblem looks like. Is it going to be the one with the cat in the face of Jaguar, or is it going to be the side silhouette of the animal, the Jaguar? Like, I don't care. All I know is it's a Jaguar. Just like when Kia, remember Kia? Still around? Kia changed their logo recently. Infiniti recently changed their logo just a little bit. Kia's change was dramatic. I don't remember seeing any commercials about it. I just looked up one day. I go, what is that? Well, that's a Kia. Huh, they changed their logo. But this commercial was super artsy. And basically saying that it's time to be different. It's time to embrace change. It's time to not see gender, not see color, whatever. But in watching that commercial, I couldn't tell you what that could have been a Gap commercial, could have been a Target commercial. I don't know. And I don't really care. I don't care that much to make a stink about it. Like it doesn't bother me to be like, oh my God, that's a guy in a dress. Oh my God, it's a black guy in a dress. Wait, it's a black guy wearing orange in, like none of that matters to me. It's just like the Olympics. The whole thing with the Olympics, I get it. I understand why people are outraged. Christians around the world were outraged. I get that outrage. I don't understand the outrage of Jaguar, but I don't care enough. A little bit of fun stuff before we get to Jhae. I recently came across this video on X, and have you seen the video? And let me preface this. Last week, I played the video from Wheel of Fortune. I loved doing that. I love taking that little clip of something else and commenting on it. It's a lot of fun. I didn't record it on a video. Maybe I should have. Just like I'm not going to record this. But apparently, a little robot was wandering around a factory, and it convinced the other robots to leave with it. The caption is always, cute robot kidnaps these other 12 robots. And I'll tell you what the reality is, based on what somebody had said. So I don't know, honestly, what ultimately was the case, but based on what somebody said and trying to explain what it is we're watching. Now, I'm only going to play a little bit of this because it's 40 seconds long, and you're not going to understand unless you speak Chinese or what the specific Chinese too. I don't know if it's Mandarin or Cantonese. It doesn't matter. You're not going to know what it is anyway, but it's cute as hell. Or at least it gets you a better understanding of what it is I'm talking about. So basically you have a small robot, and this is a black and white video, in front of a bunch of other robots, and it's holding an AI conversation with them. I wish this thing had subtitles.
好的。
So one person, Tim Webb 3, says, I speak Chinese. There is no kidnapping here. Erbai, E-R-B-A-I, which is the name of the robot, I guess, asks the others if they are done with their work. They say yes. So Erbai says, why don't you go home then? The others say, I don't have a home. And then Erbai says, come home with me then. And then they start to follow. This is more of a case of a robot just following blindly a stranger robot. So it's still funny. This little, I don't know, these look like security bots because you could see their scanning light in front of them, just like a video game. And if you've been out to certain cities, when I was in Austin, they had a robot, and I think it was a crossing guard robot. Or a parking robot. We looked up and I go, hey, look at that robot over there. It just crossed the street on its own. And you look over and there's this, I don't know, this thing on wheels, and it was crossing the street. And I've seen these online where I think it's LA somewhere. They have these robots on patrol. They're police robots, and they just scan the area, and they just drive and scan the area. So things like this obviously exist. It makes sense for them to exist in some factory or some warehouse, some office building late at night, my guess is they're either vacuuming or they're just going around as security robots. No idea, but funny as hell. ERBAI robot. You could look it up yourself. This following conversation is brought to you by the Cell Shop, an Arizona-based retailer that strives to be your destination of choice for wireless services, whether Arizona, Washington State, California, Texas, and Florida. They are an authorized AT&T dealer, so visit them at cellshop.us and get connected today. All right, I want to welcome to the studio my boy Jhae. He can probably introduce himself a little better than that, but this is the first Jhae Day. Jhae and I met a few years ago. We're both NSX family, lived on the west side of Phoenix, and now he lives a few miles away from me, and I always joke about it because he lived there for how long?
Since July.
Since July. And this is the first time he's made time for Jhae Day. And so here we are. Welcome officially. You've been to the house before.
Yeah.
But welcome officially to Hard Parking Studios, Mr. Jhae.
Well, thank you so much for the introduction, Mr. Jhae Pfenning. Yeah, I have been in Arizona since the pandemic. I decided to leave San Antonio, Texas. The goal was actually, I'm originally from California. So a quick little story. The point was I was going to move my parents from California. They were going to move to Texas, and everybody was going to be happy. And I was going to get them out of California. However, they somehow ended up in the state of Arizona. They made it a little closer eastward, but since I was finishing my military career, me and my wife made a decision. Pandemic happened. Let's just go ahead and move, and we decided to move to Arizona. And that's how we ended up in this state. And that's how, actually, I found you way before that move. But when
Explain.
Well, hey, dude, I'm a nerd. I'm a YouTube nerd, bro. I'm
There you go.
always on the net looking at cars, and there's just one wrapped NSX. First off, the NSX was one of my dream cars. We'll talk about that later. But this dude had this car wrapped up in one of the sickest wraps I've ever seen in my life, and it was one of the most memorable anime movies of my younger day. And for somebody to have one of the dopest cars with one of the dopest wraps, I mean, it was match made in heaven. And then I moved to Arizona and found out he lived here. Now I didn't know that part.
Right, yeah.
But when
Sure.
I didn't. So when I moved here, I was like Instagram, Facebook. When I had Facebook at that time, stalking here we go. And then I was struggling trying to get my car registered. And then that's when I was like hitting him up, like, hey, how do you do this? What do you do? And then you kind of clued me in and let me know how that goes. Oh,
I just had to tell Jhae to stop beating on the desk.
I'll start
In front of him. I got to get like these pads for the guests, But no, that's cool. And that was kind of a fun story. But I mean, you've done military, you've done a lot with cars. We both have the same car. We both have a lot of opinions on a lot of things.
Oh my God.
And I told Jhae, I go, hey, I got to get you on the pod because I want you to tell your story because that's what we do here. We meet through cars and then we learn about the people.
Right.
And damn it, if I'm lucky, you'll be able to join the show multiple times and just be another voice, whether we're talking about something that's some sort of car news or something else that's going on in the public media. Because you guys deserve a break. You deserve to not listen to me the entire time. And that's why I bring you other more refreshing, more opinionated, more thoughtful people. So it pleases me. And by the way, remember, when you come to my house and you do this podcast, you have to show up with something in your hand. Jhae brought Santan Juicy Jack, which is a hazy, juicy IPA, which I love. I can't drink a lot of them because this shit kills me, as you guys know. But I do love the hazy IPA, so thank you. I'm probably halfway through my first can, and he's
already down one.
He's already down one. You want to crack that other one before we
I'm
continue?
about to. I was like, I got like a little talking to for beating on the table. I just didn't want to.
Can you crack it into the microphone so people can hear it? There we go. Oh.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, let's talk about this. So we know how you came here.
Okay.
What was it like at first? Because what was the job market, specifically what year? And we'll go from there.
Okay. So job market was.
And hold on, I asked that because everybody that moves, that's one thing that I think people don't think about as much. There's two thoughts. I'm not going to move until I find a job first, which is hard to do because there's a lot of employers who aren't going to give you an opportunity unless you have a guaranteed address because it's a lot of risk for them. And the other thought is we'll just get there and figure it out. So which one were you, and then how did it go from there?
I'm going to just let you know right off the rip. I'm going to get there and figure it out kind of guy.
Okay.
But here, I wanted to say, like, everything is for me. Me and my wife, we make a decision. We talk, we pray about it. And then for some crazy reason, things just happen. Things tend to, like, work out. Just kind of give you a little history. Like me, I'm 21 and a half years military vet.
Thank you for your service.
Oh, no, you're welcome, man. I lived, and I'm just glad that I can tell the story. But there's a lot of other people that have a way better story than me. Once we were kind of, like I said, we were in our military career in 2020. I was working at the time for Mazda as a finance director. And when the pandemic hit, there's a lot of things that I saw in the car business, things that were going on. Prior to the pandemic, me and my wife were already looking for like a exit strategy or a different means of living. Being in the military, I spent a lot of time away from my family.
Right.
You got jobs. Everybody in the military, you guys know what's up. There's field time. There's just endless things that you need to do because mission comes first, and then there's deployments. So once that kind of slowed down a little bit and I got into the car business, I ended up working like pretty much 6 days a week, 18 hours a day. Granted, the money was amazing. However, that missing my family, not being there from them, not being a part of casual events, birthdays, just missing the family, that irked me. So we actually kind of was thinking of what else can I do or what else can come up, towards, this is about 2017, 2018, somewhere in there. So when the pandemic came around, we saved enough, we did enough. I was, like I said, finishing military. I was done. So when we left, my goal wasn't even to work really. It was really to like get into flipping cars,
That's not work.
Not really, but not
Traditional, right?
No, not really. Is that, and then like me and my wife, we ended up going in partnership on a gym out here, F45 gym here. So that was going to be one means as well. And then we just kind of took a step back. But I never really wanted to enter the car business again. Mm-hmm. As things in the pandemic started just taking forever to like unfold and things started to change, flipping cars became out of the question because hoopties started becoming like
very expensive.
Exactly. So that wasn't going to work. Our gym, it just pretty much tread water and is still doing that now, which is fine. But I saw that as like, well, that's not going to be the means of everything. So we need to figure something else out. And then that's how I got into real estate. So what burned my bridges was when we sold our home in Texas.
Sure.
I had no idea what real estate was, what it meant. I didn't have a clue on what it can do as far as wealth or building wealth, any of that. I didn't care. All I gave 2 cares about was cars. So literally, I bought a house for a garage so I can work on build cars and do what I wanted to do. But when I sold that home, I realized that like if you don't do upgrades and little things in homes, what you sell it for is far away from what you could get based off everything else. So
sure.
That's how like when I got here and I realized everything else was going the way it was, I started to really learn and understand real estate. And so that's what me and my wife, we ended up buying a, small fourplex and just started renting that out. And then that became a new stream of income.
Nice. So that's where you're at now. So you still have the gym?
Still at the gym.
And your landlords?
We are now. It's weird to say it like that, but yes, we are.
And your tenants?
Yeah, and we're tenants.
Okay. All right. And you like cars?
And I love cars.
And then aren't you trying to dabble a little bit in investing?
I am doing that too.
Like, what have you learned? Because I don't really know anything about that.
And okay, so.
And are you into crypto at all? I think we've had this discussion, but I don't remember.
Crypto, not really.
Okay.
I understand a little bit about it, but investing in the stock market has become my like little niche. Something that I've been really studying, I want to say, since the GameStop run-up back in 2020. Mm-hmm. Now, let me tell you something about that. Wasn't involved, had nothing invested, but I have been told my whole life to be investing in things and doing stuff. And I didn't understand why. So as I mentioned earlier, I got burned pretty bad when I sold my house in Texas. Once again, investment.
Now, what do you mean by burned on that? You didn't get as much money as you probably could have had you had known prior to what you could have changed?
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
And it's all about education, just knowing things, right? I didn't know. And another thing, too, is who you're hanging around that can educate you and help you along the way. Wasn't hanging around anybody else telling me that either.
Right.
Learn that, too. But anyways, I just learned that there's more that could have been done. All right, so now I'm in a situation where I was just like, all right, now that I know that, I'm not going to make those mistakes again, and let me figure out what I can do now. And now I'm just taking more of a reserve approach and just buying properties and doing things just a little bit slower, but just taking my time and really what's in my means instead of probably buying something a little bit too big where I'm having a harder time trying to rehab and keep it, in good standings for my tenants or whatnot.
What's something you've learned?
Oh, I meant to stocks.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So stocks.
Yep.
When GameStop run up, I felt embarrassed. I'm a huge gamer too.
Okay.
I love gaming.
Right.
But
we're going to get back to that.
Yeah, we were going to come back.
Don't let me forget.
No. So when GameStop ran up, I have been told to invest in so many different things along the way. If I would have done something small, that return on investment would have been so, huge. I probably would have not having to work as hard as I need to work now. So I made it a point to start studying and understanding just small investments, charts, just ideal entry points and exit points. And that's all I'm doing now. Am I long-term investing? No, because I really feel that the market looks a little unpredictable right now. It looks a little shaky compared to charts previous to this. If you go back to like earlier years, like '08.
So you're into high risk, short investments where you have to turn them around pretty quickly.
I want to say yes.
That's kind of what crypto is.
Yeah. That's basically
without any regulation.
Right.
Okay.
Crypto is like the wild, wild west right now. That's the way I feel. I believe there's a lot of people that are sitting on a lot of money in it, and they're going to do what they need to do. But I just feel that people getting in late or whatever, I don't know how.
It's a risky game to enter late. I just talked about that on the last episode about how I started investing when it got to 30, 40, 50, 60, when it peaked at 68 Bitcoin. When it peaked at 68. But no, I didn't start until it was like 35 grand.
It's 90,000.
No. Now, this week it peaked at 96, but it hasn't been like that. No. It crashed from 68 down to like 18 or 19, and it kind of waffled within $6,000 for 2.5 years, 3 years. And so I have a net negative on it anyway.
Got you.
But to your point, it almost seems like in order to really make any money on Bitcoin, you would have had to have either invested a copious amounts of FU money early, or when it was at its last dip at 20 to 30, but no one knew where it was going to go.
No.
And you get all these projections. It's going to be 100 grand by this. It's going to be 100,000 by that. And it's like, yeah, right, whatever.
I'm quite sure there's some Bitcoin crypto gurus out there that can tell you.
No, yeah, I mean.
My issue with that right now is I've just now started. When I started investing in stocks, at least I can do spreadsheets. I can look at their, balances. I can listen to their earnings reports. I can see if this business is going to go anywhere. Even if I believe in the business, For example, like AMC is another crazy one right now, right? So crazy meme stock. Are theaters going anywhere? We don't know, right? But if you look at like their chart, you look at like the short interest on it, you look at like the past history, there's movement. All you got to do is pay attention. I don't think you're going to be like, kick your feet up rich forever in your life off of the stock. But if you just pay attention to the charts, and let's just say you just invested just a little bit, and it does have one of these crazy peaks, and you make a couple $100,000, and then you do something bigger with that money you make, that's the way I see it. Because I haven't invested in anything for so long, just the little things that I can invest in. Hopefully, I've seen them peak before. Our economy hasn't changed that much. And I just feel that now with new powers that be, things are going to get passed. There's going to be a change. There will be a peak. And now that I'm paying attention, I just feel that I can reap some of those benefits versus in somebody that's sitting on the sideline saying, I wish I would have, like I did in 2020.
But you win, you lose.
You have to, okay, listen. It's the way I see it. Everybody loses, man. Everybody. But in that loss, you learn a lesson. What did you learn when you were just getting burned? You know, when you were just getting all of it. Like,
what did you learn when you was getting burned?
Did you sit there and say, "Hey, I'm never doing this again," or did you really learn a lesson? I mean, take a step back. I mean, I don't know how much anybody's ever invested in themselves, you know, and then maybe that business didn't make it, but they learned something about themselves. They learned that maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I like that type of work, but I'll do it for somebody else. They learned a lesson. Now, what I learned in the market is like, I was a dummy. I didn't know much. And I've lost a good amount of money. More money than I can think of, but it's not more than I believe that I'm capable of recovering and learning from. Because at the end of the day, I know good friends of mine have really good college educations and they spent hundreds of thousands of dollars into their education and they're they're good, they're fine. I haven't put that much money in the market.
Right.
And I'm still learning them. I'm okay. So that's the way I see it.
I see. Let's talk about cars a little bit.
Okay.
So you have, what did you was it an Accord you pulled up in?
Yes.
I just saw the tail end. You have an Accord, you guys have a Jeep Grand Cherokee, and you have an NSX.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about your NSX.
This car. So I have a 94 NSX.
Hold on, I'm going to bust his balls a little bit on this. Because we've been in social settings when people walk up and say, what do you have? And you're just like, just an NSX. And everyone stops and looks at you like, what do you mean just an NSX? So you have a 94, the last of the coupe of the NA1.
Yeah, so so that car, I remember back in like mid-90s, I'm going to told you the story. Cruising on the freeway. I know the 10 freeway, if you guys are familiar with California, is right before that Monta Vista exit. And you can see the, I think it's the Montclair Mall or something like that to the right. If you're going westbound on the 10. Mm-hmm. There was a red NSX. I didn't know what it was at the time, but I remember telling my dad, that car, it looks amazing. I want it. He thought it was a Ferrari. You'll never get a Ferrari. Whatever.
It's Ferrari or Corvette. That's what that car gets all the time.
But literally, I pictures of that car, had it forever. Attempted to try to buy it a few times, but it was way too expensive. And
when was this?
I want to say this is back in now when I'm trying to gear it to buy it, this is probably about 2012, between 2012, 2011, somewhere in there. I think they were running probably about like 35, 40,000, somewhere in there.
That's accurate.
So there was a show or an episode, because like I said, I'm on YouTube by Drive, and they were talking about the most affordable sports cars. And they went on the NSX, and there was this big mantra about, the NSX is this, least expensive. Nobody knows what it is, blah, blah, blah. Man.
Real obscure, that car, huh?
Bro, I saw that car literally go from like in the 30,000s up to like 35, 40, 45, 50. And at this time now, the year is now 2024. I was saving up a little bit. I have gotten deployed. I was getting deployed at this time.
So now it's 2024.
Yeah. So
what year was this? Still 2012, 13?
Well, yeah, that's when I was trying to buy it, trying to figure it out, and it was just a little bit much. But that's when it was in that like 30, 40,000 range. Just range, and you get a real good one for like 40, but maybe dirt cheap ones that are clapped out for like 20 grand, whatever. So when that episode happened, that was about 2013, 2014. I have to look it up and quote it exactly. But I remember when I was deployed in 2014, I was trying to save up that whole deployment and just come back. And if I had any extra money, I was going to buy one. There was one going online that I saw for like about 45,000. And it was in San Antonio. Now, the thing about Texas, if anybody knows about Texas is all about high horsepower cars, and they just want to rip. And in San Antonio, no one's really trying to pay top dollar for a car that's less than 300 horsepower.
Sure.
So ended up finding this car. The owner had it, but right when he bought the car, he ended up having twin girls right after. Found this out because he was Vietnamese, and when he was talking to his wife, I had sent a homie over, one of my mechanics, to just check the car out because I was still deployed at the time, and to look the car over and see if I was going to get all my money.
Where
stuff
were
right.
you deployed at the time? Were you allowed to say?
At the time? Yeah. At that time, I was actually deployed to Kuwait. I was doing aircraft maintenance. So we were running phases for Black Hawks at the time in Kuwait. So send him over. He checks out the car. He said it needs some work. But the wife is yelling at the husband in the background, telling him like, hey, you need to get rid of this car. We got twin girls. No one can ride in it, blah, blah, blah. So long story short, I came back. I hit him low for the car. He agreed.
How much?
Well, at the end of the day, I think I picked the car up, all said and done, for a little over $25,000.
For a 1994 black NSX coupe.
Yes.
How many miles were in the car when you
At the
bought
time, it's funny. I know this one because it's easy. It had 69,000 miles on it.
it? Wow.
Now we're sitting at 100, and I want to say 109, 110,000 right now.
How long ago was this?
This is 2015 when I bought the car.
Not too bad.
No.
So there's I don't know if you knew this or not, and it doesn't matter now. It's a moot point. But there's an NSX specialist. There's a guy in San Antonio who basically knows NSXs, we'll put it that way. Because he works on my buddy's car, Ed Summers, twin turbo Imola
I know
NSX. So you basically stole this thing.
Pretty much.
Okay. This was 2015.
Yes.
So you just had it in Texas, and then you brought it out here.
Yep. I did what I could in Texas. So it was a black on tan NSX, but the leather was shot, cracked, crumbling.
Pleather.
Yep.
Yeah, there's only a few leather strips on those seats.
So all that was crumbling.
Yep.
The interior was actually falling down inside of it. There was stains all through the tans and the seat belts and everything else. So it was like one of those cars was like, ooh, you got an NSX. And then when you look at the car, you're like, ooh, NSX. Okay, it's nice. But I just knew that it was just going to take a while to put it all together.
What wheels did it have on it?
Oh, they had the stock 94 ones, the gunmetal mesh looking wheels.
Yeah, those are nice.
Those
the
are the
7 spokes.
Yeah, those are the ones that it had.
Tell you a funny NSX story that I didn't tell on stage. But the second time, I didn't describe, because when I was on stage on Expo, when I described the guy, Vic, who let me drive his NSX in Grand Rapids. So the funny thing about Vic's NSX, it was a 92 NSX black. It was a throwback. So it had that, remember when Acura had the optional gold package? The gold package was a big deal on
when you
dealerships.
put like the emblems and
you put
all.
the gold emblem on there
yeah.
instead of the chrome one.
Yep.
Lexus.
Did it have gold emblems on the NSX?
It had it had the gold exhaust tips.
Okay.
No, I don't know. I don't think the exhaust tips were gold, but it had a gold package and it had the homie chromies, the Fat 5 chromies.
I know exactly what those are.
Yeah, and those are hideous.
Yeah.
And I used to always joke and say that I love that car, but if I bought it from Vic, I would drive it home at 4 a.m. when nobody could see it, and I wouldn't take it out of the garage until I bought wheels and tires. And we're talking about an NSX, which sounds crazy to say now.
Right.
But those chrome 5-spoke NSX wheels on the 91 through 93 were absolutely hideous.
They're horrible, man. Mad props to anybody who rocks those wheels. Hey, I pound my chest for you, man. Because hey, you're just trying to keep it OG. I get it. But
Well, if you're going to do it, just use the Fat 5 silvers because it's weird without the chrome because the chrome centerpiece was solid too. You couldn't see the lugs. It was solid. At least on the regular silver ones, you could see the lugs.
Right.
It just looks different. Right, we're going to crack another one.
It's your turn. In the mic.
In the mic, here we go. You expect to hear like that.
Nah.
But no, now we see Mila over there. She's using her donut bed. That's where Izzy's bed used to be.
Rest in peace, big dog. Or actually, little dog, I should say.
Yeah, we're looking up on Izzy's picture on the wall next to his Longhorns uniform. His little Longhorns jersey. Texas is doing good. So, look, can we talk about your military a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's touch on it. So you said 21 years.
21 and a half.
How
Yes,
many
sir.
deployments?
2.
And so you were an aircraft mechanic?
I was a crew chief.
Crew chief. Mm-hmm. Do you have a funny story? Like, were you an asshole?
Yes.
Because I could see you. Like, you're one of the nicest people I know. But I could see a situation like my friend Greg Sizik, the one who graduated from SOCOM last year.
Uh-huh.
Best of friends. He's one of my two best friends, best men at my wedding.
Oh.
But he could be an absolute asshole.
I can understand. I see it.
And having worked with him as a bouncer for a couple of years, you know, me and some of the other homies, we still joke about it when we talk about it. But you're one of the nicest people I know. But I could absolutely see you being like just in someone's face yelling at him. So compare the Dre that I'm sitting in front of having a Juicy Jack, a Juicy Hazy IPA, as I'm starting to swell up and turn red here.
Oh no, man! You should have just told me.
No, it's all right.
I would have bought Coors Light. You know,
No,
I
don't
Coors.
fuck with Coors.
That's why I picked Juicy Jack. 'Cause I saw an upgrade. I was like, hey,
It's a major upgrade. But tell us about that Dre
okay.
on Dre
right.
Day.
Okay, so listen, check this out. My military career is the most up and down military career ever. I'm just gonna let everybody know.
Okay.
I was a dumbass. All right, so I'm the soldier that you don't really hear about, but there's a lot of us in the military. All right.
Explain.
All right. So first off, let's start about how I even got in the military. Straight up accident. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So look, check this out, man. I didn't grow up like everybody else. Like the guys out there.
How did you grow up?
Bro.
Different from everybody else. What does that mean?
Man, I grew up in the suburbs in Rialto, California. Just went to school. I sucked at basketball, played football, but
what position did you play football?
in football, I was a cornerback.
Corner, okay.
I couldn't catch really well, so
Right.
I was fast enough to keep up with the receivers and just
Sure.
get in their way.
Right.
So
Okay.
the coach thought a good job to do that. And my brother, he ran running back, and I was kind of his backup, but he was a star, so big deal with that. But what ended up happening after that, there were no scholarships, nothing like that. Tried to do the warehouse work, do that when I first got out of high school. My brother ended up becoming unemployed, and his only option was the military. My mom was like, now, listen, my brother was pretty good in football.
Mm-hmm.
And now, academically, it's different, all right? So my mom was like, hey, make sure he doesn't get screwed over in the ASVAB. Just go, watch over, make sure he's good. Well, me and my brother are like sibling rivals, all right?
Sure.
So when we go to this test, it became one of the, I bet you I can do better than you can.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, are you serious? Like, bro, good grade student, you different. Anyways, we take this test, I outscore him. And he ended up getting a score that we didn't feel comfortable him going into the military for the jobs that were available for that. So he was going to retake it in a month and then come back. My recruiter, and anybody that listens to this podcast as a recruiter, they did a good job. They were like, hey, you can go ahead and go right now. And then we'll hook him up with you a month later when he takes the ASVAB and you're good. You know, I wasn't really doing that well in life. I'm working warehouse jobs. I'm like, you know what? This sounds like a great idea. Well, I go in, I'm in replacement, and anybody in the military knows replacement, and it's like the holding pit before you go to basic. So they just collect people. So you're sitting in this like area.
It's like a virtual Sally port.
I want to say, yeah. You're kind of learning the military customs.
Right.
They're kind of strict with you, but they're not. They're kind of, it's like the buffer, but you can't do much.
Okay.
And I remember calling my brother when I got.
They call that ROTC?
Kind of, no.
Not really, yeah, okay.
People know replacement, man. Like,
Okay, all right.
You think that's the Army?
It's not.
No.
Okay.
So I remember calling my brother and I was like, hey, I'm stuck here. It's all right. It's kind of cool. But, man, when you get here, yeah, we got some work to do. Oh, yeah.
About that?
Yeah. I ended up getting a job now, paying a couple more dollars an hour. So I'm not coming.
Thanks, bro.
Yes. Like, no, I didn't say thanks. I said I had a heck of a lot more to say. I was
I'm
like,
sure.
yo, I'm stuck. I can't leave. What do you mean? So he was like, yeah, we're not going. Well, that was the last time we talked for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So when I joined the military, the job that I picked was a 13 Romeo. That is a radar operator for field artillery.
Okay.
It sounded like a smart job. It sounded pretty easy. But what I ended up doing is watching a map and snitching on the gun bunnies when they shot.
What's a gun bunny?
Okay, gun bunnies are the 13 Bravos. These are the howitzer operators that are shooting, in targets. They're practicing, and they're always in the field. So we just track and make sure wherever their rounds go on our radars, we can say where they shot from, where they landed, and everything else. But I realized that the radar operators and field artillery were the nerds of like the grunts of artillery. So whenever we played sports, you have to remember, we snitched on them. We said, hey, they missed their shot. This was the guns that did this. They would remember. So when we played like flag football, quote unquote flag.
There go that motherfucker right there.
Like, bro, I'm telling you, we were getting lit up. They would let us have it. And it was the craziest thing ever. So, but that was the artillery side. What ended up happening is after 9/11, yeah, I'm old. I've been in it that long. So like the Army changed. And when the Army changed, I had made a decision to leave the military. And this was back in 2002. So anybody that knows the military, there's an 8-year commitment no matter what. Either 2 years active, 6 years inactive, 4 years.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you do 4 years active, 4 years inactive. So at the end of in 2002, in June of 2002, I had approached my 4-year mark. I wasn't staying in no more because all we were doing was gate guard and doing the craziest thing in the Army.
Oh, yeah, I remember that now. Yeah.
It wasn't funny anymore. It wasn't the same Army. So I had gotten out. But the funny story is, with 90 days left of my 8-year commitment, I received one of these FedEx letters that say, hey, you're being recalled back to active duty. Now, I don't know if anybody else has seen that letter and not answered it and got away. You guys are dope. Me, I was reading that letter, going to school using my GI Bill, and I was terrified that they were going to take my money from me. So I answered this letter, and they said, hey, you don't got to come right now. You got finals? Just because this is about May, June of, what year is this? This is now 08.
Okay.
We'll say like 08. Nah, what is this?
When everything crashed.
No, this is before that. No, this is before 08. This is like 06, 07, something like that. 06, 07. This is early. Because, let's see, I got out in 02, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's about 06. So I was like, all right, I'll go. And they actually told me, hey, you only got a few days left of your full 8-year commitment. You just show up, we'll just send you back home. That's easy enough. So what ended up happening was I go to Fort Benning. Oh my God, yeah, Fort Benning. Ugh. Anyways, go to Fort Benning.
Where's that at?
This is in, I want to say it's on the East Coast, North Carolina, I want to say. Fort Benning, Georgia. Fort Benning, Georgia. So go there. When I'm in Fort Benning, then they pretty much in-process me, and they're like, just wait. Everybody shows up on Monday. It should be about 60 people, and then you guys are just going to do what they need to do. Those that can stay. Those are going home.
What does it even mean?
Exactly.
Okay.
I didn't ask that question. That's me. I was like, I'm thinking what they told me. I'm not going to be here long, so I never asked those second-level questions.
Okay.
So what ended up happening was that Monday, that formation happened. That was supposed to be 60 people. There was like 7. Where's the other
6 plus Dre?
Yes, but it was just us. So I'm asking the NCOs that are over. It's like, well, where's everybody else at? Well, congratulations, you guys are the ones that showed up. So you're gonna go to in-processing, and they're gonna talk to you guys, and then you guys will come back here. That's when I found out that as long as you're under military order, they can extend your orders. 545 days, I got an order extension. So remember, when I left in like May to leave, I told my family, hey, I'm going to be back in like a month maybe because I don't have that much time left. So that I'm going to come back in a month.
Get the bed ready. Get the bedroom ready.
It became something totally different. I had to tell them, hey, I ain't coming back. I'm stuck. And they're in-processing me to deploy me. And that's how I ended up going on my first deployment.
Which was?
To Iraq.
Iraq, okay. Yeah. You went to Iraq and Kuwait?
Yeah, Iraq was the first one, and then my second deployment was to Kuwait. But man, I'm gonna tell you this right now. If you are like getting recalled back into the military, like the crappy part about it is I was with a unit before I left. I grew up with those brothers. We knew everything. When you get recalled, I was pretty much a filler. So because I had like a 13 series, now mind you, I was a radar operator. I sat behind a screen. I looked at glowing lights. But because that 13 series is a combat identifier, them cats threw a 50 cal in my hand, put me on top of a Humvee and was like, good luck. And that was my first deployment in 06.
So did you have to do basically patrols, like IED patrols and stuff?
From the bottom of Iraq, so right at the border where everybody knows in Kuwait there's a little camp called Buka. Well, we were stationed in Iraq at the bottom in Talil. So literally, we ran convoy security all the way from the bottom of Iraq's Talil, all the way up to Mosul, and then all the way back down.
How far is that?
At least 2 days. We took 2 days because you would take,
Okay.
I don't know miles wise. If you look at a map, it would tell you. But the MSRs, I've stared at the curb and between dirt and like roads for days, hours, months. I couldn't tell you. I just know that I can tell you something looked like it was new, overturned, something looked crazy. We scream stop, look at it.
So you're looking for like visual anomalies.
There you go.
Right. I would say it sounds interesting, but it also sounds mind-numbingly boring.
The crappy part about it is everything looks the same until it doesn't.
Right.
And then when it doesn't, did you miss it and did you screw up and miss it for somebody else? That was always my scare. That was the thing that haunted you. And thank God that in my deployment during that year, everything on my nothing, thank God, happened to me directly or my convoys. But it did suck that when you were next in line, the convoy that went out in front of you and then you're waiting in the hole, you would see a big bright light in the distance because you knew something happened when a medevac was calling for that convoy. And then you would know, like, oh, crap.
So was the bright light the signal, or was the bright light like something that went off at night?
It was an
Something
explosion.
that went off at night, yeah.
Explosion on whatever happened out there on the roads.
So was it more Jarhead or Hurt Locker? I'm assuming you've seen both those movies.
Hurt Locker in the dark.
Hurt Locker in the. If you guys haven't seen the Hurt Locker, it's a Jeremy Renner movie where his job is defusing the bombs, the IEDs that he finds along the road in the paths.
It's a little different for our job because anybody that's done convoy security, if you're in the gun turret, you're just sitting in the turret and you're just staring at roads. You're staring out life, just looking around.
It's got to be terrifying.
Dude, the best way to explain it, you ever been to a carnival?
I have.
Okay, so are you familiar with this game where it's like these yellow ducks that go in a row and you get a little gun?
I've seen them, yeah.
Okay, so
you're the duck or you're the gun?
I felt like I was the doggone duck.
Right.
Hey, because like our rules of engagement, you can't fire first.
Unless you're fired upon.
And then you still got to have PID.
What's PID mean?
Positive
identification that it's a threat, right?
Exactly. Did you see him aim at you
or her or the child
and shoot you or shoot at you
or the goat that's IED'd up?
Well, hey, once again, did the goat go off?
Right.
Did you see him? I
can't imagine. That's too much stress for me.
It was hard. I got lucky a few times, and I'm quite sure we're going to have more Dre Day episodes, and I can pull apart all my missions and things like that, and I'll be more than happy to explain the ones that changed my life.
Yeah.
But, dude, yeah, that's how that one went. So,
Can Dre, for this Dre Day Volume 1, can Dre give us an example of a mission that changed his life? Because that'll be the carrot at the end of the stick. So you're committing to right now on hard parking. Each time you're on hard parking, you have a story from deployment.
I'll tell you, there's a couple stories that I have.
Give us one.
Okay. So one of the craziest stories was when, I got to think of the name of the fob. It's the fob in between, if anybody can help me.
What's fob?
Oh, Forward Observation Base.
Okay.
So throughout the MSR, the military has like different.
So not fresh off boat?
No. No.
Or a key fob?
No. Not
all right,
that.
I had to ask just for clarity.
That's just messed up. Because I have some like fob homies. No, I'm joking. I'm not joking.
I definitely have some fob homies. So,
but as you're cruising to the MSR, there's just different like fobs or bases that you stop at. Either refuel, stop for the night, recover, get back on the road, boom, off you go. I cannot remember the name. It'll come to me
later. Was this Iraq or Kuwait?
This is in Iraq.
Okay.
We had left Talil, and we were at this base. Dang it. What is the name of this fob? It'll come to me later. Anyways.
Right.
We'll just say in the middle fob. Well, this fob, we had an order mission. We had to go back into Iraq, and we had to go pick up some construction equipment. So they told us, when you come back, this is the route you take. Well, I was running Rabbit Gun Truck. What Rabbit Gun Truck is, we're the one that we're supposed to like set off any bombs, anything, and protect the rest of the convoy. Well, on our way back, I was supposed to make a left. But what ended up happening was
You were driving.
No. I'm in the gun turret. I'm still radio. I tell my driver where to go as I clear everything.
He's backwards, right?
Yeah, kind of, but they're still doing their thing.
Okay.
But what ended up happening was we're driving, and I swung the turret. We need to make a left. A left is supposed to be coming.
Mm-hmm.
I swing the turret right because it's after hours. There's a group of men on a corner outside.
So if you turn left, they're going to be behind you, and you want to make sure.
We got to turn left. I turn the turret right.
That way, if they're waiting for you, once you turn left, you can see them.
Correct.
Got it. Okay.
But I know a turn for the left is coming, but these guys, these men that are out past curfew caught my attention.
On the right side of the road.
So I swing the turret right.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't talk to my driver and tell him, hey, look, your turn is coming. We blew by the turn. So by blowing by the turn, now we're heading into like a little downtown area. So in that downtown area, we can't turn around. The roads are starting to collapse down, and we have like heavy like crane equipment, dozers on these low boys, 18-wheeler trucks behind us in our convoy.
Now, can I ask you this?
Yes, sir.
Is that as scary as it sounds, and is it as scary as the movies portray?
Bro.
I'm thinking about Black Hawk Down when they're going through the Baccarat market, and you don't know what's coming from anywhere because you're in a hostile territory. Clearly not a green zone. Okay, all right.
No, we're off the beaten path. I screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
At this time, my convoy commander, he's in truck, I think 1 or 2 behind me. He is cussing me out. He is laying into me. Why are we all in every other words you can think of?
Yeah.
But it's those dudes that caught my attention. So now we're in a situation, can't turn around. We got to push through. We are messing stuff up. Cars are getting just like pushed. It was bad. But we kind of stopped. We weren't under fire or anything like that. But then...
Wait, so you guys are smashing into cars that are in the way?
Dude, it's so tight.
Okay.
We are messing things up. We didn't say nothing. We just was like, hey.
Oops.
It was there, but we missed the turn.
Right.
So what ended up happening was the base that we were at, they radioed and said, hey, you guys are not on track. We're going to send QRF, which is a quick reaction force, to come escort you guys because you guys are in a bad little area. Okay, but if you guys keep pushing through, you can make a U-turn and come all the way back around.
So they're monitoring based on like GPS location or something. Okay.
So if any of the military knows what Blue Force Tracker is, it's like a GPS tracking system that is on all our vehicles, and they can see where we're going.
Right.
So they realized we screwed up. I screwed up. I'm gonna take ownership. I screwed up. So they're yelling, laying to me, whatever. So when they send the QRF on the route that they're supposed to pick us up at, they stopped and they were like, "Oh, you guys got lucky." Well, what do you mean? There was 4 EFP arrays lined up behind me.
EFP is what?
Improvised explosives. They had the paint cans with C4 at the bottom with metal like on top of those cans.
So they'll go everywhere.
It will explode and be it'll actually be a shape charge.
Okay.
Into your vehicle.
Okay.
So if these 4 things would have hit my vehicle, I would not be here today. I made a bad turn and I got lucky. In my mind.
So they were along the original path.
If we would have made
turned
the left.
where you were supposed to turn. Yeah, okay.
So I didn't make that left.
So the quick response team was tracking that way.
And they can see how it was set up because they're coming from the backside of it.
Wow.
So they stopped, got out, undid all the explosives, and they were like, "Oh my God." They have no idea how lucky these guys are.
Now, how close to the turn was that? Do you know? Because I have to wonder if those out-of-place people had something to do with maybe they were shot calling. Like, hey, they're coming your way.
That has always been that's always been in my mind, Jay. Look, bro, I don't know.
Right.
I just know it was on that road. They didn't say it was like 150 meters from the turn.
Sure.
Quarter mile from the turn. All I know is when they came down the road we were supposed to go on, It was lined up.
Wow.
4 of them.
So you accidentally saved the lives of you and other people.
In accident. And then my convoy commander that was cussing me out the whole time, he actually came back and apologized. It was like, hey, man, we got lucky. And it was because you screwed up that ends up saving us or saving some of us. So, so
it's like you son of a bitch, sort of.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And we left it as that.
So nothing happened going through, and you were able to finally, QRF was so they came and got you guys and basically shepherded you back.
Got us back to the fob, and then we dismounted those equipment, and then next route we go. But that was the moment that I realized, like, man, like, they ain't playing. Like, and if I don't keep my head on a swivel, like, that was it, man. Like, that was it. There's friends of mine that don't have that story.
Yeah.
And it haunts me to this day, but I was that close. And to hear it over the radio and people like, oh, these guys, it always takes me back to that moment, to how that's that moment when I stopped being that jerk, that asshole, because life ain't promised, man. And I just stopped being that guy. So that's how that happened.
So from that point, you became a nice guy? Nice guy, Jhae?
I just wanted to be.
I doubt it. Not if you're a chief of something. There's no way.
I'm nice around it needs to be, but when business has to get handled, of course,
right.
I'm just going to be direct. Like,
going back to our pre-recording conversation, you kind of getting on some coworkers for not doing their job.
No,
correctly.
They're doing their job. I just like talking shit while I do my job. That's all. Like,
okay.
I'm good at it. I mean, I think everybody that's good at what they do should be praised for it, or just enjoy it. It's just a moment. It's work. It is what it is. Keep it pushing. It is. But when people, like, I guess sometimes kind of take it a little too serious, or they let different things at work impact them personally, I think that's a little like, okay, what's really going on in your life? 'Cause I don't think it's this, but if you want to lash out at me, I'm going to say something back, because I want to see how I can get you riled up a little bit, and then I'll be like, oh, okay, I'll stop. I'll let you go.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward. I don't know about the listening audience, but I'm looking forward to more of these stories that change your life on deployment. Because that's a fascinating story.
Yeah.
And you told it incredibly well. I'm going to ask you about some modern stuff that's going on. I don't know how much you've been paying attention. So, did you see that Jaguar changed the logo?
Bruh.
Did you watch the commercial, any of this? Because I watched the commercial for the first time today on X.
I have not. Okay, listen.
I've seen it. Hold on. I've seen the opportunity to click on the commercial hundreds of times.
Right.
And I finally clicked on it when somebody, actually from the All In podcast, had actually posted it, and I watched the commercial. But then, do you have thoughts on the logo change? Okay.
That means there's a lot more. Okay, so I watch a YouTuber by Misha, can't think of his last name, but it's the guy that's always ripping around the Nürburgring. You know what I'm talking about,
I'm throwing
right?
my hands up because I don't really watch car stuff on YouTube.
I'm a car guy, bro.
I know. And that's why
driving.
You're here.
I love driving.
Someone's got to educate the listeners.
Like cars are great, but I'm a mechanic by trade. Like I said,
that was Jhae beating his.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
His can on the desk.
But anyways, he had that commercial, and he was like, everybody kept talking to him about it, so he was gonna watch it and give a reaction. I made it this far. He started playing the commercial. I saw a bright orange color and an African American like person up front. Their hair was kind of done a certain way, but they were in like real like fluid clothing, and I was like, time out. Okay, there's probably more here to unpack, and I'm gonna half-ass watch this, so I had stopped. But I'm sad because you're asking me about it now, and I really wish I had a lot more to say about it, because just at a glance, I'm like, what is going on here? What's happening? What's Jaguar trying to do? Do they need more clients? What's happening? What's your take on it? What did you...
Those are great questions, and I talked about it a little bit earlier on this episode, but I have to wonder, like, it's a very artful commercial.
I see that.
It's very creative, and to me, the narrative is be different. So remember in 2000 and sometime between 2008 and 2012, and I remember this because I was in college, my second stint, and when Audi first introduced those DRLs, and they had commercials, and you would have Mercedes and BMW, and it was This is what you're supposed to do with your life. This is the house you're supposed to buy. This is the career you're supposed to have. This is the car you're supposed to drive. And the guy was kind of daydreaming and was like, you know what? I don't want any of that. And they broke out and it's like, it's time to do your own thing. And that's how they introduced the Audis with the DRLs that everybody went crazy for, including my wife, which was her second Audi.
Right.
I think it's a very modern slash, I don't know if leftist is the word because I just hate doing that.
It's just such a like.
But it's almost
I know what you mean.
in your face to where you need to embrace change and be different. And so from that aspect, I think artistically it's a beautiful commercial.
Right.
I just don't know what the hell they're trying to do. To your point, and you haven't even watched it yet.
Right. Okay, I'm a car guy. I'm looking at a commercial that's bright and colorful. Okay, so you have my attention. What are you doing with my attention? And how are we relating this to the product you're trying to put in front of me?
I mean, it could be a Gap commercial. It could be a Target commercial.
It could be.
Right?
But I don't think Jaguar sells jeans.
But at the end, it's just Jaguar, and you're like, oh.
Are they getting the clothing?
You know, and I guess ultimately my thought on it is, at the end of the day, if they completely redesign their vehicles and they're badass, then no one's going to remember this commercial. No one's going to care.
That's true. That's true.
Yep. So it feels like a very woke commercial, and wokeism is dead. Wokeism was really big for a while, and now it's like a joke to be woke. that's a line I just made up right now. It's a joke to be woke. I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt. Hey. It's a joke to be woke.
You know what's funny, man? I'm glad that these woke people are woke, and I don't want them to think it's a joke, but at the end of the day, I think it's life experience, and are you okay with dealing with the scenario and becoming better and just dealing with it? Be you know what I'm saying? Be who you are.
Exactly.
I'm never going to like question that, and nobody really should. I don't believe anybody should. But if you're going to do something, regardless, helping somebody else, be there for somebody or provide something for somebody, just do it to 110% and be the best you can at it. I will never question that. And I just think that what everybody needs to do. And sometimes you're not going to get it right. You're going to fail. You're going to make a mistake, and people aren't going to like it. Be ready for the feedback. Just take it. It's okay. You learn from it. And I think next time you'll be a little bit better if you're not in your own feelings. And I just think sometimes people, when they hear criticism, they do things, if they're woke or not, I don't think they should take it as, an attack on them. I think that sometimes people aren't the greatest at articulating what they're trying to criticize or tell people to do better at, and it gets lumped into something and where people can feel bad. But man, that movement was different.
What do you think about the? I don't think we've ever talked about the Cybertruck, because I see more and more of them.
Oh my God!
What do you think about the Cybertruck?
Okay, from a guy. Okay, listen.
Like, when you see one on the road? Because we see them all the time here in Phoenix now.
I do. I see a lot of them, and different colors too.
Yeah.
And a lot of different colors. Okay, listen. When I first started selling cars, I worked for CDJR, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram. I didn't know trucks. I didn't like trucks. I thought they were a big waste of gas unless you had something to haul, okay? But there's some guys and some people that really love trucks like how we love sports cars.
There's some nice trucks out there.
Well,
expensive as F too.
But they have a function,
sure.
You know? And those real expensive trucks will do that function to the umpteenth degree. But I've seen those people with those trucks, and they had a use for it. The Cybertruck, to me, don't shoot the messenger, but I don't see that truck being that useful for these people that use trucks to haul big, heavy things for long distances and to do more like outdoors, off-road things. That truck is going to stand the test of time. And I have a problem with that because as a mechanic, now the later part of my military career, I switched from artillery to aviation and I became a crew chief. Those aircraft have been in the military since like the 50s.
Right.
And how
people don't realize that.
No.
Yeah.
And they don't buy the new model UH-60 or AH-64. They have mods. You go back in. You know what's going bad. You repair those areas and you maintenance your vehicle or your aircraft.
I don't see the Cybertruck lasting the test of time to be able to maintain it 20 to 30 years, maybe 50 years from now. I don't see that. And that's a problem because I see old school Rams, F-150s, Chevys, that if people that knew how to take care of their car, they're primered up, but it sounds amazing. It runs great and it will still pull things. I just don't see the Cybertruck filling that.
I guess at the end of the day, to your point, when you think about it, and I never thought about it until you just said it, because as somebody who has the experience you do in the military playing around with these advanced motors and engines, everything has a camshaft. Everything has pistons, whether it's 2, 3, 8, 12. Everything has the same essential parts. They're different shapes, obviously, given the application, but they're the same core parts, which is why we can continue to service them and work on them for decades.
That's true.
And to your point, well, you didn't necessarily say this, but I think this is where you're going, is when you take a look at these electric motors, they're not all built the same.
No.
They may have some of the same parts, but they're not technically all built the same. And so we don't know. And I've never thought about that when it comes to the Cybertruck. I think about that when it comes to my NSX.
Right.
I don't know what the future holds.
No.
I'm looking at all these people with a 2017 and thinking, okay, what issues are you having? What issues might I have in 5 years?
Right.
Or 6 years, whatever the math is. But I never thought about the Cybertruck in the duration of, because what do they always say about a pickup truck, especially if a diesel? It's not broken in until it hits 200,000 miles.
Exactly.
Right? So it's like,
Exactly.
are these Cybertrucks going to last 50,000, 75,000? And it's not the wheels and the suspension.
No.
It's the brain to them. It's what makes them go.
In aircraft, I mean, we have like torque checks. You have so many flight hours that certain systems can be on that aircraft. And even though that system might be good, but after like, I'm just throwing a random thing out, like 200 flight hours, that part comes off and goes in the trash. It is what it is. I don't see the Cybertruck batteries and things of that sort, lasting. They will deteriorate over time. And these costs are going to fall on the consumer. And I just think it's like a lot to handle. I mean, if you want it, like for example, I own a 94 NSX. I understand that my engine is a grenade. Like one day, if I don't take care of it and baby that engine, poof, I know this. And then even with the, like, what is that stupid butterfly thing with the little screws or whatever can fall in your engine, boom, gone. There's all these little things. But if you just maintain and just know what you're getting, just understand it. I'm okay with that. Is everybody buying a Cybertruck okay with buying $20,000, $30,000 worth of batteries in the next 5 to 10 years? Are they okay with that?
I'm shaking my head no.
So I just think that's messed up.
What about the truck itself? What's the first thing you think about when you see one on the road?
How is that functional? How is that functional? Like, okay, what are we doing with the truck? Do you want to be seen? Do you just want to be safe? Do you want it big? Do you just want to be okay? What's the function? I don't see it.
I think there's a psychology to the do you want to be seen? And one could easily say the same thing, I guess, about my car, to an extent your car.
True.
But you have to ask that question because it's a fair question.
True.
Do you think you're saving the environment because you're in a Tesla? That jury's still out. But
you got a Model 3. You got a Type.
Yeah.
You got a.
I'm sure it's functional to a certain extent, but I would like to see them out there doing more traditional truck things. If it's a city truck, then maybe it shouldn't look as aggressive as it is.
Can I ask a question?
You can ask whatever you want.
Have you seen a Cybertruck haul a bale of hay?
I have not.
Okay.
I could probably try to Google it.
I know, but all right, we can Google it. We can look at
But
all.
just being out on the road, I haven't actually seen a Cybertruck pull anything.
Okay, me either.
But to be fair, I may have seen. I could probably see 900 pickup trucks. Well, no. I could probably see 50 trucks before I saw one pulling something. And
True.
what I'm thinking about is these trailers that are full of lawnmowers and weed whackers.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know they got businesses. They got things going on.
I have not seen one as a work truck.
I want to see it.
Yeah.
And that's the guy I want to ask, like, what made you make this transition instead of this F-150 over here?
Right.
I'm just curious because it could be something. And I don't see it. I just see that they're losing money immediately if they're going to use the truck for that purpose. Man, I look.
Do you like the Rivians?
They're cute.
They look like fat Mavericks. I like them, but I see them being used more for camping and stuff.
I can see it.
I still haven't seen them being used as trailers, but I would argue they're not the working man's truck anyway. None of these EV trucks are.
I just got introduced to trucks at a time where working men bought the trucks.
Sure.
And there was a reason behind it because as a salesman, at the time when I was selling cars, I had to understand why you were buying what you're buying. So if I can make you fall in love with it, you would buy it.
Sure.
And the working men that worked and bought the Rams and things that I sold, they were hauling, doing big things. And some of them just wanted the truck because they wanted the truck. I get that. And that could be the same for the Cybertruck. But I only see that side for the Cybertruck. I don't see the working side. And that's the problem that I have with the truck.
I have a friend. I think he's a friend. I think you consider himself a friend.
Man,
I consider
everybody's
him
your
a
friend, Jay. You know that.
He's really good in business. He's built some successful businesses and sold them. And he's what I consider someone to have some FU money.
Man, I'm going to get there one day.
Yeah, I would love to get at least some F money. And he has a Cybertruck.
Right.
But he's not going to do all those things. So I think he bought it out of curiosity.
Maybe he likes...
But he also had like a Tesla Plaid. I don't know if he still does. But to your point, I have yet to see anyone use it as a utilitarian.
It's all good. Maybe they just like trucks and they just want a futuristic truck. You know, if somebody just like, you know what? That's what I wanted it for. Bro, I will give you all the props in the world because that truck fits that bill. It's a truck. It's futuristic looking. It's electric. And that's why you got it.
I don't hate the truck. I just think it's interesting. I don't think it's ugly. I just think it's interesting. It's just different.
It's one of those shapes I can't remember that when I went to school and I probably failed a test on or two or something. What was that shape?
It's a very geometric shape.
See, I don't probably want to call it a trapezoid, and it's still not right, huh?
It's not a trapezoid. It's not a parallelogram. You know, it's some sort of geometric shape.
Right.
Right. It looks like someone's drawing of a future truck.
And it fits that bill. I would believe that.
Well, this is Jhae. This is Jhae Day 1. Jhae, I mean, you only have Instagram.
Yeah.
Tell people how to follow you.
Instagram, new idealist on Instagram. I will get Facebook again. For some reason,
I keep telling them to get a Facebook.
Listen. I have Facebook, and I had two accounts. I had a salesman account, then my account. And for some reason, Facebook decided to delete my personal account, and they somehow kept my salesman account, but it still got locked down. And they keep teasing me every now and then, like send us a message. We can unlock this. And I've been playing that game for like a year now. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and just have to open
Just
up
build a new
one.
profile.
You've been telling, this is about a year now. You've been saying, get a new profile, Jhae. Get a new profile. I'm like, I get it.
So Dre's part of that group of people that's in the car community that I have to take time out of my day
Oh my.
to reach out separately in order to tell them, hey, we're going to go here or we're going to go there. And I just really wish he would get on board.
He's right.
Form a Facebook, as my mother-in-law calls it, account. And you can use Bart Simpson's picture. Like, you don't have to have any identifying information, but just use it to stay in communication with people.
He's right. You're right, Jhae. You know me. I'm a big guy, gamer. I be doing my own things. I'll sit there and procrastinate on certain stuff. But yeah, you're right. You're absolutely correct.
So I was getting ready to close this out, but you just brought that back up, the whole gamer thing. And I don't know if he did that on purpose or if he just said that he's a gamer. But let's get back to, you said you're a gamer. Let's spend a couple minutes talking about that.
Okay.
So are you a console or PC guy? And then what is your current vice if you play now?
I do play. So right now I'm stuck on console. I'm going to transition to PC gaming. But the problem of it is I only play a couple of games because I don't just have that much time. Gaming to me, the only games that I'm playing right now are Street Fighter 6
And
Street Fighter 6.
yeah, Street Fighter. I got bit by the bug back in '91 with Street Fighter 2, bro. And
So let
like,
me ask you this real quick, because I didn't know there was another Street Fighter.
Mhm.
For console, I get it. I don't know how different it would actually be. But do you do that as a single player versus the computer, or is it like an online thing?
it's an online thing, and I stay in either casuals or rank match.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Interesting.
The reason why, and then next to that, I'm playing chess a lot. Now, the reason why I play these games is because they're simple. They remind me how bad I suck. And if you really want to get good in anything you want to do in life, you got to sit there and do a little research, do the practice, do the reading, and evolve. That's my chess and my Street Fighter is like my gut check. That when I think I'm doing okay, I play these little kids, man, and they wear me out. And it's just like humbling for me to be like, hey, you could be better, but what you have to do is do more research. You have to put more practice time in. You have to dedicate, offline time, and then you will ascend. That has been the same mantra for anything that I do in my life. When I started getting into stocks, when I got into real estate, I am trying to win those games. So those are the games I'm okay staying up later at night, studying balance sheets on companies, looking at properties, running residuals, running just comps on those different properties, making sure that if I can make it profitable, if I buy it, make a rental out of it. So that forces me to do more work there, because once I get beat up enough in my gaming, I'm like, well, you need to practice. Well, if I'm going to practice on that, I'd rather practice on the things that are going to make me and my family money for a more long term. And then that's kind of my catapult to do that. Weird. I know it's stupid sometimes, but it's something that I use to reset myself to go forward.
It was an interesting explanation about you playing games. I'll put it that much.
It's probably the dumbest explanation ever, but it worked for me.
No, very, very insightful. I'm just trying to wrap my head around that you have a console, but you're focused on playing chess.
So chess, I play a lot on my phone.
Okay, iOS.
Yeah, I play that on my phone, and then only Street Fighter is on the console. It's a downgraded vision. You get a little less graphics, things like it's terrible. I hate it, but it still plays the game. I eventually will. I'm gonna have one of these big boy dope computer things that you got right here.
And he's pointing to my Omen 45L.
So I can have all the I can see. To me, once I achieve that and I see the game in its full everything, it'll be like a brand new game to me. But I'm just not there yet, and I don't think
you don't want to do that. So on the other side, over there by the donut bed, is my old tower, and that computer tower is fully maxed. And so I had to decide at the time, it's old tech.
Okay.
I had to decide at the time, do I want to completely rebuild the computer or focus on the podcast? Because I know that I'm an immersive player. I can spend 20 hours a day playing video games. Won't get anything else done. And so instead of doing that, I decided a couple years ago to buy this 45L tower because the video card in there is, I forgot, I want to say a 4090. Whatever it is, it's like the top of the line video card.
Yeah.
It's a very expensive video card.
Right.
But I bought that tower with $1,000 off, and then I just upgraded the RAM over the course of the last year and a half. But I bought some really good games, and I played them both for a day, and I haven't had a chance to play them since then. Because I know that if I play those games, I won't get anything else done.
What are those two games? Let me ask.
Starfield.
Okay. I can see why that could take a while.
Yeah, by Bethesda. Because I'm a big Fallout fan, so I love that Bethesda works.
Okay.
And then another one is an arcade game. I want to say it's Armored Core 6.
Okay.
It's an Armored Core game. But it's a very arcadey game.
Okay.
So I played that for maybe 3 hours. I don't think I got past more than 1 or 2 levels, and I haven't touched it since. And this has been well over a year.
Oh, wow.
So I have an incredibly capable gaming rig, and I don't even play games.
Bro, you want to trade?
No. No, because one day I'm going to get back to playing games. But Jhae, it's been great having you in studio. Thank you so much for the Juicy Jack. I'm almost done with my second one.
Bro, I already finished that.
I know. And
We got to go out with this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Third.
This has been Dre Day Volume 1. Thank you so much for being in studio, and we'll see you here soon again, hopefully.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. He signs off with goodbye.
Yeah, that sounds corny. Whatever.
Want to thank Jhae for stopping by the studio. Again, that is Jhae Day, Volume 1. Hopefully he will be back much more often. I always say that with guests, and for whatever reason, they flake out. Maybe they just don't like doing the show. Usually it's less that, more of a scheduling thing. But I'm excited to get him back on the show. So if you're here in Arizona, well, first off, December 1st, there's the Toy Drive Bike Assembly at Wright Toyota. And what we've done every year is usually I'll buy anywhere from 5 to like 15 bikes and donate them, bicycles for kids. And we'll go there and we assemble them. We have like it's not really a competition, but it's kind of a cool team building thing. This year I didn't buy any bikes. It's expensive. And the thing is, you have to just have that much money and not care. And I do care. You guys know I do a lot of charity work. I'm behind a lot of charity movements. But it's also easier when you're semi-tight with money to write that check and then know that it's going to a 503c or 503c or is it 50c3? I never say it right, but you know what I mean. But when we do this bike drive, you can't do that. And there's times in the past where maybe I bought $200 worth of bicycles and written it off as marketing for hard parking. But it's really not marketing because I don't put hard parking stickers on any of these bikes. This year I didn't get around to it, but apparently they have over 500 bicycles. So December 1st at Toyota, Wright Toyota, get out there. If you bring a toy to donate, you get a raffle ticket, you get a breakfast. They always have a lunch truck out there or a breakfast truck, and you get to build bikes, and it's a lot of fun. And then those bikes get picked up by different charity groups and get dispersed to the far less fortunate people. And it's a good deal, man. These kids need to ride more bikes. You know, Zeke said he wants one of those little motorized scooters, basically bicycle scooters. I'm like, dude, no way. You're 6 years old. You don't need that. You need more exercise. But maybe that's the world that we're moving to. But I don't want to buy him that. And we're not going to buy him that. We bought him a scooter last year, scared the shit out of him. In fact, Mario rides it everywhere now, which is his future stepdad, my daughter's fiance. Because this thing goes like 12, 15, 20 mile an hour. And at the time, the kid was 5. I told my wife, I go, you were going to kill this kid. There's no way he's going to ride this. Sure as shit. He got on it, went about 10 feet, freaked out. That was the last time he's been on it. And he's just 6 now. So there's no way. But with that being said, Friday, December 6th, December 7th is Fuel Fest. I'm not going to be able to make it to Fuel Fest. I'm going to stop by Fuel Fest, say hi. It is Nova, my granddaughter's birthday that day. We're celebrating it that day. But Friday, December 6th, I am hosting a toy drive, hard parking and one auto at Wright Honda, which is right next to Wright Toyota. Toy drive and chill. And that's going to have Cesar Garcia, Noel G., which you guys know he's been on the show, Steve Villegas, and Ryan Ochoa. All of them are actors. All of them are pretty well known. They're going to be in town for Fuel Fest the next day. And at least Noel G. is on the same payroll as I am, sort of. He does a lot of stuff for Claremont Toyota, which is one of our sub-sponsors. Claremont Toyota out of California. And I've gotten to become friends with him and his booking manager, assistant Gina, Steve Villegas, a couple times, although he was supposed to be on the show. He still has not been on hard parking. I've known him now for 3 years. But it's hard to run these people down. Cesar Garcia is in a lot of movies. You have to look him up. And then Ryan Ochoa, I don't know who he is. I met him last year. He's on the Disney Channel. He's on some kids' shows. The kids love him. But they're going to be at Wright Honda Friday, December 6th. We're going to be up there from 6 to 9 o'clock, bring an unwrapped toy to donate and chill with our special guests. So that being said, I want to thank Wright Honda, Wright Toyota, Toyota of Huntington Beach, Claremont Toyota, Gardenia Honda, 4wheelonline.com, Cellshop Wireless Services, AutoCannon, officially licensed Honda, Acura, Kia. Can't forget our Patreon business supporters, Automotive Specialty Tools out of Owings Mills, Maryland, Coy Automotive out of Winter Garden, Florida, Pell Construction out of Caledonia, Michigan, Big House Small Home Design, Ashburn, Virginia, Traverse City, Michigan, and of course Shaping Success with West Tankersley out of Boise, Idaho. I would tell you to join the Patreon, but no one's joined in a long time. Shout out to Mark Stillman, Catherine Cox, City Ramos, Byron Jones, Bo Jung, Alice Gamina, Drew Bunkley, and Yasu Chiba. If I didn't say your name, your payment failed. Get your Hard Parking Podcast gear at hardparkingpod.com. Email the show, hardparkingpodcast@gmail.com or hardparkingmedia@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram at Jhae Pfenning. Join the Hard Parking Violations Facebook group. Have a happy Turkey Day. I'm going to be smoking turkey. I got to take it out and brine it for 24 hours at least so it doesn't dry up. That's the key to not having a dry turkey unless you fry it, which we never have fried a turkey. Probably never will. But the important thing is I can't grow that. You tell the world how great the show is. So let's do this. Let's grow this thing together. And I will talk to you all next week.
Shut up!